Hi everybody. In the last week, we created a product page. Now, the product page was meant to be a destination when we click a product, right? So we go to, like here, the Jonas Brothers keychain. So this week, we're going to do a few things, but the first thing we need to do is cover the category page. Last week, we had the categories in our menu. So this is nothing much more than a database call. So as you can see, I can click on shirts, and it goes to the categories. So this is new. Headgear, this is all new, Plushies, Keychain. But I want to show you how to attack it and how to attack it easily. Keep in mind, we're not going to be destructuring this until it's totally functional. By destructuring, I mean reducing it and then making it possibly object-oriented and basically taking every piece of code that's duplicate and just making it once as an include. We don't want any duplicated code here, so we're going to put this site will eventually be nothing but includes. So I've got this right now. This is categories.php, query string, cat ID equals 3. Is up here just to be, I do cat ID equals 1, I get, hopefully it loads faster here. There we go. I get the plushies, or the shirts rather. Category 2, reload headgear. So the good news is that the menu in the top is all cached. So this is cat 3, the plushies, cat 4, the keychains. I think we ended it on cat 4. I don't think there's a cat 5. So how do we do this? Well, the easiest way is to pick the page that's most consistent. And that page for us was the index. The index itself had the new arrivals, the latest arrivals, and it also had the popular items. So all I have to do really to get a category is to get the same block of code, but to make it where the query string is that cat ID. So where this is something like select all from products table, order by ID descending limit 4, when we get to the categories, this one needs to be select all products where cat ID equals 2. So let's go take a look at this. So I basically, when I built this, I put the index page. I literally created a new script called categories, and I copied and pasted from the index. So we're going to open up the index and the categories. And it's just subtly different. I'm just going to show you how to work with this, but I think it's actually easier to destructure after than before. Destructuring for me is makes it more easily updatable. But when I'm building, I'm just getting code that I know will work to make it function. After that, I make a backup, and then I start destructuring my code. So all this code up here, this is literally the add to cart functionality. You know, we're connecting, we're getting the action. The same thing that we went back to week 8 when we started this cart. So like this is checking to see if the product is already in the cart, and it's updating if it isn't. Yeah, you know, if it's in there, we're just going to update. Otherwise, we'll insert the cart. All this is going to be the same on every page. The only difference is that this case, I relocate to categories.php, which is the categories page itself. Okay, so here's what you can do when we start to destructure. I can do something like page equals scalar underscore server and php underscore self. That is the value of this page. So then when it comes down to this, all I have to do is go, instead of categories.php, I can do self. And that's how we can destructure this. We can put this as an include and call it add to cart.php and just include it site-wide, okay? So we'll be doing that, but just to know that the subtle difference is when I pasted the index page into this one, here, make sure, okay, that's good. All the way. Okay, so we're emptying out the product variable, by the way. That's what that's for. So anyway, let's see right here. Price equals product price. We're all good. So I just literally copied and pasted everything, but there's also the rating system, and this could also be an include. And if you look at the rating system, you see how it says get insert rating? Well, that's the same. So we wouldn't have to do anything. So everywhere down here where it says this is the menu, so that's fine. That'll be an include too. And we can start to plan on how we're going to destructure this. Like this get latest, well, guess what? It's not getting the new arrivals. This is getting by category. So what I could do is say, get by cat. And then that would be more indicative of what this page does. Get by cat. Okay? And then all of these would be get by cat because it's get by category. And it's the same code that we went through a couple weeks ago. So it's like get by cat here. No longer is get latest, but at least it's more explicative of what we're trying to achieve. So what we're doing here is getting everything from the products table that we need. And then the category from the categories table here, from the products and categories where the cat IDs are the same, and the cat ID itself is the cur cat. Now, the cur cat, let me talk about this for a second. The cur cat goes all the way up to the top. See that? That's what's getting the value from the window. So when I go to my categories here, cur cat is equal to this. That's another thing that's different from the index page. The categories have to have it. Now, you may have seen, why is he using cur cat? Why doesn't he use cat ID? Because cat ID is used elsewhere. See right here, cat ID, and my code's underneath that. So cat ID will never be equal to scalar underscore get2 because cat ID is already equal to the get cat here from the menu. So you got to be real wary about that and come up with new variable names. Now, if you do this error reporting EL and you get a variable that you don't use, it'll report it, and then you can follow up on it. And honestly, when I was coding this, I actually had that error message saying, hey, you've got an unused variable cur cat. I'm like, okay, it was actually cat ID at that point. But when we go down here, everything's the same as the index. I killed off, the carousel, the main section. I have my cart here. I can obviously kill this off because this was part of the original design. I have the class carousel. I can kill that. No big deal. And then I've got this. So this, back to the restructuring conversation, what I could do later on here is just have this be a function called get products by cat ID. Make it a function call that makes sense. And then take the cat ID as a parameter into that function. So everything else is the same as index. I have the loop, everything. And I still have the rating system and all that. One thing that is subtly different, though, that I want to show you is that I've made this linkable. Because right now we're at a cat page, a category page. So if I click on Plushies here, hopefully this works. Let me make sure I know it worked a second ago when I just started the video. But if it's not, I'm not even worried about it. Because all I have to do is, if you look here, when you see something like this, real quick, and you see that the main, it shuts off after this, that means there's a fatal PHP error before. So all I have to do really is go back, do Command Z all the way back, and we'll go back and we'll get that fixed. So watch, when I do this and upload, hopefully we get our cat ID, and there it is. So I was going to Plushies, and you see how there are 3 here. This is important that we have the link to the product page, because I could certainly buy this here or add to cart, but I want to go to the product page. And in the product page now, I've also added something called Cloud Zoom, which I'll make as a separate movie. But the goal here with the categories is to just get by cat ID and also to make it linkable to the product page. So let me show you where I did that. Originally, I had item image, background a URL with the product image here, and I added an anchor link around this. So this is going to pass product ID PHP with the query string of PID, and I'm outputting the product ID here. And I just surrounded it around the name and the current price, and then I closed the anchor. So I did that in that section. And after I did that in this section, I actually went to the index page, and I'll be doling out code on this too, in case you're interested. So I went back to this page and did the exact same thing for consistency. Because if you want to go and see more detail about the Jonas Brothers keychain, you can, or you can buy or add to cart at any point, or you can go to the Keychains link right up here. So I'm trying to make it so that every link works and the user's never lost. You'd be amazed at how much user experience is involved in all this. So that's the categories. So just to back it up a little bit, everything's the same as the index. The form action, by the way, for everything we do, the form action is always categories.php because I'm actually sending the data to the same section for add to cart. But the ratings here are all the same. Anytime I saw, index.php, I simply replaced it with categories.php. and then added links to the products page. So that's how we can create a categories page. And one more thing before I end this video, there is one more difference, and that is inside the items, how I can get the actual category. Now, I moved the H3 because I want the category name to be visible. So when we go back to our categories page, you see it says Keychains here. That's because when we look at this, okay, I have products that equals get latest fetch all. So fetch all gets the whole thing. And below this, you know that because we've for each of the products as product. So in order to get this out, I had to var dump products, output the variable to see what it is. And it was an array. It was an array of data from the fetch all. So I had to add a 0 here with the category because category is the name field of that table that we were calling. So anyway, this is a good piece of code to go through because not only are we testing to see where the category IDs are the same, but also where the cat ID is from the URL window.